Life was a public amputation. The dissolution of his marriage to Giselle Bündchen was not merely a personal tragedy, it was the surgical removal of a key asset from the Brady brand. The kingdom was cleaved in two. What remained was a man of immense wealth, standing in the echoing halls of a life built for four. Pause. The silence is a commodity he now tries to fill. He fills it with new faces, new temporary alliances that flicker in the paparazzi flashbulbs before dissolving. Each is a transaction, a brief distraction from the ghost limb of his former existence. He buried the man he was under a mountain of new ventures. The relentless pursuit of capital is the perfect anesthetic for a heart that has been professionally appraised and found wanting. It is an inventory of sins by another name. The truth is, the empire he builds now is not for his family. It is a fortress against loneliness. The verdict on his second act is written in the digital graveyard of failed ventures. The collapse of FTX was more than a financial misstep. It was a public stain on his legendary judgment. The man who could read a defense in milliseconds failed to see the rot in his own portfolio. A fatal error. His platform, Autograph, once heralded as the future of fandom, was forced into a quiet retreat. It pivoted from the speculative frenzy of NFTs to a simple content aggregator. This was not an evolution. It was a surrender. Pause. The digital gold rush ended, leaving behind a digital coffin for millions in capital. Now he collects teams, Raiders, Aces, Birmingham City. These are not investments, they are relics, trophies for a man who can no longer earn them on the gridiron. He is building an empire of assets, a sprawling testament to his inability to stand still. This is the anatomy of his fall. Not a crash, but a slow, calculated descent into a gilded cage of his own making. The cage is comfortable. It is lined with Italian leather and the quiet hum of a private jet. He trades a helmet for a headset, a kingdom for a microphone. The price was a pact, written in ink and broadcast rights. Pause. $375 million. His first year in the broadcast booth was a disaster. The critics sharpened their knives. They called him robotic, unprepared. They misunderstood. It was the sound of a deity, learning the crude language of mortals. By 2025, he had perfected the performance. The analysis became sharper, the voice more confident. This was not growth. It was adaptation, the final calibration of the mask. His public speaking circuit is a similar transaction. He sells packaged wisdom in Hamburg and strategic advice to Delta Airlines. Fragments of the legend, sold by the hour. Each keynote speech, each corporate partnership, is another gold bar reinforcing the walls of his solitude. He prepares for a flag football tournament in Saudi Arabia, a king paying tribute to a new court, chasing the warmth of relevance under a desert sun. The dossier goes silent on his personal life. This is not an oversight. It is the central exhibit, an inventory of absence. The collapse of the FTX crypto exchange was a public audit. The divorce was a private one, a fault line that cracked the carefully constructed mythology of the perfect life. The man who had everything now presides over an empire of one. The ghost of the supermodel haunts the architecture of his new life. Every acquisition is an attempt to fill the space she left behind. Every new venture is a distraction from the silence in his minimalist mansions. This is the anatomy of his loneliness. He is no longer a quarterback. He is a collector, a curator of assets that cannot leave him. This frenetic activity is not ambition. It is a flight from the void. The verdict on Tom Brady is not written in record books. Pause. It is echoed in the empty rooms of a life too big to live in alone. This is the anatomy of his second act. An obsessive effort to become the sole author of his own myth. The media companies, Religion of Sports, 1990 Productions, are not businesses. They are scriptoriums, workshops where the past is polished into a weapon against the future's indifference. He is no longer reading a defense. He is writing the official history, a sanitized gospel where every chapter ends in victory. His 10-year, $375 million contract with Fox is the centerpiece of this self-erected monument. It's not a job. It is a golden cage, a decade-long sentence to sit above the game he can no longer play, a king in exile commenting on the wars of younger men. Pause. He sells analysis, but the product is nostalgia. Every broadcast is a seance, a desperate attempt to summon the ghost of his own greatness. The portfolio is an inventory of distractions, a frantic casting of a net into the abyss, hoping to catch something that feels real. The investments are not about growth. They are about acquisition, owning pieces of things. A soccer club in Birmingham, a pickleball team, a Formula One boat. Each purchase is a new anchor, trying to hold the man in place as the tide of relevance recedes. His tech venture, Autograph, was the ultimate monument to ego, an attempt to turn his signature into a digital asset, to tokenize his own legacy. And it crumbled. The collapse of the NFT market was a verdict on this digital hubris. The pivot to a fan platform is just a managed decline, a life support system for a dying idea. He now sells access not as a commodity, but as a service, a strategic advisor for an airline, a speaker in Hamburg. He is no longer the product. Pause. He is the packaging for the memory of the product. The public appearances are a carefully managed tour of his own museum. A handshake here, a speech there. The trip to Saudi Arabia for a flag football tournament is the final exhibit, a legend for hire. It's not about the sport. The game is over. It's a transaction, a performance fee paid for the ghost of greatness to make an appearance in the desert. The personal life follows the same script, a curated emptiness. Paparazzi shots that look too perfect, relationships that feel like brand partnerships. Every smile is audited, every public gesture, a line item in the budget of his new identity. He sold victory. Now he sells the memory of it, a far less tangible commodity. Pause and far more desperate. This is the anatomy of the afterlife. The empire is not a business. It's a mausoleum, a monument built by a living man to house the ghost of his former self. Religion of Sports, 1990, Productions, the portfolio of teams. They are not companies. They are echoes, attempts to recreate the sound of a stadium that has fallen silent. The true verdict on Pause. Tom Brady is not found in his bank account or his list of assets. It is found in the relentless, frantic motion, the desperate need to fill every second with a meeting, an investment, a broadcast. It is the terror of stillness, the fear of what he might hear in the quiet, the final, inescapable truth. Pause. The game is over, and he is still on the field, playing against no one.